Okay, there has been a power failure, so that's why there has been a little bit of interruption. Can you all hear me now? Can you all hear me? Okay, interesting. So we have been discussing the threat of substitutes, and so there is a presence of new websites as well as the vertical websites, and also from the advertisers also do have different options other than relying on completely on Google. So threat of substitutes are kind of very high. Then let's get into the other variable, which is the bargaining power of the suppliers. Now, who are the suppliers for Google? It's mainly the advertisers. So basically, because Google gets about 90% of its revenue from the advertisers. And as a result of that, Google needs to maintain a very good relationship with its advertisers. So which is kind of a bit of a risk for Google. So again, it's a kind of a moderate to high bargaining power from the suppliers. And the rivalry amongst competing firms. Now, who are the competing firms? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, please. I can hear you. Do you have any question, Tiaraj? That's your. Okay, sorry. Right. So, the rivalry among the competing firms. There are three companies or the four companies competing, mainly Google, Yahoo, Internet Explorer, and Firefox. Because all these companies are competing each other, the rivalry is very high. And there is no switching cost per users. I mean, users could switch between the web engines. So in order to keep the user loyal, they have to do some creative and innovative things. So as a result of that, the rivalry among the competing firms are very high. Now, if we summarize the task environment, threat of new entrants are low. However, the bargaining power of the buyers and users are high. Threat of substitutes are high. Bargaining power of the suppliers are also high, as well as the rivalry is also very high. So, from the task environment point of view, industry point of view, it's a very competitive industry, right? So that is, I mean, just this is how you analyze a company based on a task environment. So this may be a revision for you as well, because this will tell you how you analyze a company operating environment. Right. Okay, so can we now summarize the external factors analysis? Since now we have covered the external environment as well as the corporate governance section, now we can actually identify the opportunities and the threats for the organization. Yeah. So, what are the opportunities available for Google? One thing is the growth of smartphones is an opportunity for Google for them to expand. Increasingly people as well as the individuals are depending on the internet for information. So internet has become one of the main sources for users research as well as other information. So it is kind of an opportunity for them. International expansion is an opportunity for them. So basically you need to pick these opportunities from the analysis that you have carried out. So you have carried out two analyses. So societal and environmental analysis as well as the task analysis. From your opportunities, you need to pick them. International expansion is another opportunity that Google has. Um, so those are some of the opportunities that Google will have. In terms of threats, uh, due to low switching costs, as well as the strong presence of strong competition, Google needs to be constantly watching out for its competitive activities. Because as a result of that, Google may lose some of their uh, users as well as advertisers. So Google needs to sort of create some ways of keeping its customers. For example, as I mentioned at the few minutes back, your ability to sync between the devices, that is one thing, right? Then use a single username and password for everything. For example, your Gmail password can be used to access Chrome as well, so it will enable you to search your previous searches. Then probably you may offer people to sort of save their username and passwords and etc. So you may have uh, frequent interaction without having to enter the password and the username every time. Likewise, and there may be some political legal issues that may impact the Google's operating model, especially the monopolistic power. One could argue that Google is a monopoly, so as a result of that, there will be some liabilities of online services and the international laws. And also growth in international security breaches. For example, there may be hacking that could happen to Gmail as well as any other devices. So people may be concerned with the possibility of the information breach. So it may be harmful for Google since their business is on the internet use. And also Google trademark has been used in synonymous with the searching. So as a result of that, there's a possibility of losing trademark uh, because people may use it as a generic term. So again, like any other company, Google also may go through a maturity cycle because the online advertising market may soon reaching its maturity. So as a result of that, it may affect Google's growth as well as free cash flow available for the company. So it's a summary of the opportunity and a threat. So by analyzing your external environment as well as opportunities and threats, basically, if you look at my slide section 3, A and B, by completing A and B, you should be able to summarize the opportunities and threats available for this particular company. Right? Okay. So now let's get into the other area. That is the internal environmental analysis. Internal environment. So basically in this exercise, what are we trying to analyze is the strengths and weaknesses of the company. We have already identified the opportunities and threats for Google using the external environmental analysis. And here what we are trying to do is, we are trying to evaluate strengths and weaknesses, right? So we can do it in different ways. So first let's evaluate the company corporate structure. So the company is headquartered in US. Also they have international divisions for respective divisions. Now, for example, Google has the office in India. They have a country manager in Sri Lanka. Likewise, they have the international divisions, international regions to monitor the business in general. And also they have a global diverse workforce. People recruited from different countries to ensure the diversity. Right. Then the company's culture. Google always recruit the highly skilled workers from the universities as well as the business schools. That's a strength. And employees are rewarded financially for performance. And also Google provide the employees with the open and the collaborative culture. Management strive to be transparent in their workings. And the company used technology and the standard process to convey information. And strong employee satisfaction. Right. So those are some of the example that we can pick from the corporate culture. Then the corporate resources, marketing, mainly heavily rely on the word of mouth advertising and the quality of the user experience. And those who have, used Google products there's no reason for them to move out because the user experience is very good. International revenues were 51% of the corporate revenue in 2010. On average, the company growth revenue between 8 to 9% revenue each year. In general and administration, 2,900 employees, and the R&D purposes they have 7,400 employees. They always test new technologies such as artificial intelligence. And for R&D they allocate roughly about 11 to 12% of their revenue each year. And Google always encourage the company culture of innovative thinking and the collaboration. And from the financial perspective, revenues consistently growing. However, it appears that it has reached a maturity level. And large cash balance in 2009, greater than $10 billion for use in acquisitions and the growth, no debt, and obviously you may be able to carry out a financial ratio analysis, and see the Google's positions. If you look at the key statistics, current ratios in the excess of 10, right, in the range of 10 to 8 current ratio, which is a very healthy ratio. Net profit ratio is in the range of 25 to 27%. Gross profit is in the range of 60 to 62%. ROI in the range of 16%. Return on equity is 18%, roughly in that range. And human resources, they try to recruit, hire, and maintain a skilled, innovative, and the talented employee pool with Google. And always Google understands the power of the talented employees and create competitive compensation packages to help attract high caliber of professionals. Hire, recruit, and maintain employees with company's mission, policies, and the strategies in the forefront of the process. So that is how their factors are. That's how human resources are done. Now we can actually analyze the strategic factors. Now, since we have completed the internal as well as external analysis, we can carry out a kind of a summary SWOT analysis. So, if you from the internal factor analysis, what are the strengths that Google has? Summary. What are its strengths? One strength is its ability to attract and retain top industry talent. Is one of the strengths. So, because Google has a reputation for rewarding its employees for their hard work and experience rapid and strong growth with strong employee satisfaction. And another strength that Google has is open and collaborative work environment. Strong cash position as well as brand awareness are another two strong factors that is available with Google. What are the weaknesses? One weakness is that they are entirely depending on about 97% of its revenue is from the advertising sales, which is kind of high risky depending on one revenue stream. So as a result of that, Google needs to look at multiple revenue sources in order to eliminate this risk. So it's one of the weaknesses that Google has. So there are many weaknesses. So there are many strengths, but few weaknesses. And also Google's international revenue is increasingly Google is increasingly depending on their international revenue. Right now, they about the latest information says about 60 to 65% of their total revenue is coming from international markets. So it may be as a result of that, they may be subjected to currency fluctuations as well as international tax laws. Right. So that's a strategic factor analysis. So basically, the strength and weaknesses that is coming out of our internal analysis. Right. So now we can analyze the situational analysis of Google. Analysis of strategic factors, situational analysis. So what are the key strategic factors that Google should be worrying about? Google should be looking at. If you combine the strengths and the weaknesses of the previous area, Google should be looking at this kind of things. So I would recommend you to download the case study that I have shared or the answer script at this stage. This I shared you a Word file. Can you remember that Word file that I have shared with you all? It's there in the Embass or the whatever the LMS. Is it there? Yes. Can you share that file with me over the Skype? It's there in the LMS. Can you access LMS now? No. LMS पर access करा. මෙතන නේද? I'm in the maker. Save file කරන්න. Press and stop. Word එකේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නේ. Open it then. Open it. That's fine. I mean, what you can do is you can download by yourself. Presentation is that. So that unfortunately I cannot open that particular file because there's a issue with the file, but you should be able to download it from your end. And it is a kind of, I mean, in that particular document, you will see all what I have mentioned here. So if you have the particular document, go to Exhibit 3. There you will see key strategic factors that are associated with Google. So what are the priorities? I mean, at this stage, you should be able to combine the threats and the opportunities, and you should be able to come with a scoring mechanism. And you will see the scoring mechanism in that particular Excel sheet. So key strategy factors, one key strategy factors for Google is that international expansion. And they should do this over a short to medium term because of the low competition abroad, as well as international expansion is currently growing revenue for Google. And the growth of smartphone is another key strategy factor that Google should be aware of. Uh, and ability to attract and retain top industry talent is also another strategy factor that Google has. Brand awareness, strong cash position, competition, right? So these are some of the strategy factors that Google should be aware of. Exhibit 3. Okay, so let us look at, now at this point we have ended the SWOT analysis, because we have carried out the internal analysis as well as external analysis. At this point we have uh, gone through the SWOT analysis. So I would recommend for you to spend few minutes and go through the exhibits 1 and exhibit through in the Word document that I have shared. Exhibit 1, which will give you a summary of the external factor analysis, EFAS, and exhibit 2, which is uh, internal factor analysis. Just spend about 10 minutes and go through the exhibit 1 and exhibit through 2 in the Word file that I have been shared with you. Just spend about 5-10 minutes. So this is the kind of this is the exhibit one I have been referring to. So you will have a summary of the external factor analysis that have been discussed, and this is how actually you could do a external factor analysis using a weighting and the ranking, international expansion, things like that. And the exhibit 2 will give you the analysis of internal factors. Very good question. It depends on the how important. I mean, this is where actually you need to get to the brainstorming. It may change on person to person, the weightages and the ratings. So usually the weightages and the ratings are done depending on the business impact and how particular component is, how it is going to get impact on the business. So this is where when you have 10 different people in the organization, you will have 10 different ways of ratings and the ratings. So what is happening in brainstorming environment we do is you get individual to fill this, and you finally put all these items together and come up with the overall weightages and the rating ranking. So there is no hard and fast rule in saying that this is right or wrong. If this analysis has been carried out by 10 different people, they will come up with 10 different ratings and the rankings. So when you are more experienced and when you have more details about the business, most likely the more experienced you are, you will have come up with the stronger weights as well as stronger rating for a particular score. So ideally, if you could get 10 different people from your senior managerial team, then you may get into a final average scores depending on the individual ratings and the rankings. Did I answer your question, Mr. Pesena? So it's again depending on the business importance as well as the individual's ability to identify a particular issue as a how it is impacting the entire business. Right. So again, you will see internal factor analysis, strengths and weaknesses again. And finally, the combination, strengths as well as weaknesses. For example, one key strategy factor is international expansion. International expansion. So they said it's highly important, the rating of 5, weightages of 15%. They should be doing it in the short to medium term. So growth of smartphone, 10% weight has been allocated, rating of 4, very important one. So likewise. The summation of the total weights should be equal to 1. That's the rule. So this is, I mean, this may change on first person to person, obviously, as I mentioned to earlier. Right. So the next level that we should get into is the strategy, recommendation for strategy. So if I go to that particular area, so what particular, so we have done the strategy factor analysis. Strategic alternatives, item number 6, strategic alternatives and the recommended strategy. So the company may look at different strategic alternatives. First one is a growth by acquisitions. Growth by acquisition strategy is one option that the company may pursue because the growth may be stagnant otherwise. The second strategy should be continue to enhance the user experience. So developing modules that are integrated with the core Google experience. Now, for example, Gmail, Google Docs, etc. And the company is actually kind of doing it quite well. So the first strategy is that it is become stagnant because there may not be many companies to acquire for you to grow. That's number one. And also your competitors are also in the acquisition drive. Now, for example, Microsoft very recently acquired LinkedIn, right? So there aren't many growth. I mean, there aren't many good acquisition opportunities available to start with. So then company should have an alternative strategy for that. And secondly, company should enhance the user experience. This is something Google does quite well. So what you could do is you could integrate different level of applications and try to log the customers. They already provide Gmail, YouTube, Google Maps, right? What else? Pixel, where you can store your photographs. Google Calendar, then Google Drive, Google Docs. So there are plenty of applications that Google should be able to integrate with core Google experience and try to enhance the user experience. That is one strategy company could look at. As alternative strategies, company again may look at cost leadership, which is not be really relevant here. It's because there is no cost operation as such, but they should be able to differentiate themselves against other search engines. Again, if you get into the differentiation, there are pros as well as cons. Obviously, one positive is that the positive user experience compared to Microsoft and Yahoo. I mean, those who have used Microsoft and Explorer would know how easy to browse with Google. And number two is that incorporate a greater social networking functionality to the Google experience, which is kind of lacking in Google because Google has something called Google Plus, which is the social networking experience, as well as they have a chat application called Google Hangouts, which is kind of not being used that much. So there's an opportunity for them to differentiate themselves using Google Hangouts as well as Google social networking arms. Number three, become equally adept at putting information to use just as much as Google is superior in retrieving data, artificial intelligence, things like that. So these are some of the things that Google may do. I mean, as a result of that, however, Google may differentiate from their original mission. What is the original mission? To provide information to the end user. So if you are moving to too much of social media and integrate other integration of applications, they may move away from their core mission. And also, it's difficult to kind of differentiate when three major players like Microsoft and the Yahoo are pulling the same internet-based data. And with the recent acquisitions, actually Microsoft will have more data compared to Google, for that matter. If you look at the stability, company is kind of stable because the revenues are continuously growing. Demand is high for service. So it's a kind of a very stable corporate environment. However, at the same time, rapid advances in the technology may require Google to stay ahead of the tech curve in order to maintain the perceived leadership. Now, for example, Google has been working on a project called Google Loon as well as Google Glasses, which are still at the R&D level. So, company has to invest a lot of money on the R&D in order to stay relevant in the game. From the growth perspective, the company has massive amount of cash with them, and also they'll continue to attract the best and the brightest minds in the industry. Perhaps there's an opportunity for combined media and other information like Google TV, etc. So you will see the pros and cons of uh, growth perspective in this particular here. So what is the recommended strategy for Google? Differentiation. Continue to grow in the international market is one recommended strategy for Google. And differentiation in terms of interface and user access. So one opportunity is the tweaking the revenue model to have advertising fees rise and fall based on the seasonal trends of the Google user. That's also another way that Google could improve its revenue. Identifying the emerging international markets to plant the Google seed, especially the Africa as well as the emerging Asian countries. So in summary, Google may have three pillar strategy. One thing is the international expansion, especially into emerging countries. Secondly, to enhance the user experience through differentiation, as well as continue to attract the talent. These are the recommended strategy for Google. So how do we implement this? Again, the strategy can be implemented through programs. Number one is to facilitate the innovation thinking and the culture. Secondly, since you are growing by acquisition as well as moving to international markets, you need to slowly integrate the culture of the Google into other operations. And also you need to keep a track of emerging technologies in the market and the company to create new technologies to maintain competitive advantages. And budgeting is something that cannot be used in this particular industry because with the rate of change in the industry. And the evaluation and the control. So Google is continuously evaluating, investing on this individual and the company performance. So current information system is also capable of providing timely and sufficient information and the feedback. Then finally the financial analysis. And you will see the financial analysis from 2004 to 2009 during that period. some key ratios has been calculated. Some ratios are actually not really relevant to this industry. And this is what is known as a common size statement. So all the revenues are, all the costs and the expenses are expressed as a percentage of revenue. Assets and the liabilities. So that is what's pretty much it. Basically, when you analyze a case study, if I go back to my PowerPoint, these are the things that you should look at. So apart from the financial analysis that you have seen, you should sort of look at this particular model, strategic audit heading, that is there in slide number 15 and the 16, and look at each and every component and try to analyze the case based on that, similar to what you have done. So you will refer to the answer script of this particular case study as well as in the Google, which I have shared with you. So I have shared with the Word document, which is the answer, kind of a recommended answer script for a case study, and it will tell you, I mean, we have gone through that, and it will give you some understanding about how to analyze and how to sort of write different case studies, and how to answer different case studies, how to evaluate different strategic options, and etc. So that's the end of the particular case study, and so we have about 20 minutes left, so I will leave this time for question and answers, if you have any. Are there any questions and answers? Or questions? So let me try and answer. Any questions? Okay, since there are no questions, I would recommend you to go through this case study number 12 again and revisit the answer script that I have shown you. And this is the kind of a format or a model that you should be following when you are analyzing a case study. So there are plenty of case studies that is there in your textbooks, and you should be able to sort of read them through and understand and try and apply the concept that you have studied in the classroom in this particular case. So since there are no questions, let me wind up this session now, and I wish you all the best, and this is the last lecture, and good luck, and all the very best. Yes, Mr. Vithanage, do you have any question? I'm not pretty sure about the case study analysis for the exam. I'm not pretty sure about that. So you may contact Miss Hashika for that. I don't have a really understanding about, because I'm a visiting faculty member. I don't have an understanding about how the paper is set. So contact your course module leader. So do contact your course coordinator regarding the examination questions, if related to that. Okay, good luck and all the best. Thank you.